there, everyone. The Andrade here, and welcome back to episode 13 of our Project Architect 2 Let's Play series, where today we are working on diving into all of the Powah. We are getting unlimited Powah through Powah by, well, getting Powah automated and set up, and we're actually getting all the way up to the Spirited tier. Can't go Nitro, don't have the other stars yet, but we can get as close as we can to being maxed out on Powah. Let's get into it. What happens when you anger a brain surgeon? Well, they're going to give you a piece of your mind. Welcome back, my friends, to another wonderful day here in the world of the Andrade, where today we are continuing with our theme of infrastructure setup by, well, doing stuff and doing things in our base. Today we're going to work on getting into Powah. That's my major goal here, is to get Powah'd up. Get it? Get it? Ha 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 ha. The Andrade is so funny. I do want to grab some of these things from this guy since Cactus is there, and I have not yet found Cactus, so we're going to grab some Cactus. Thank you, buddy. Anything else that is EMCable? Tube coral blocks? Sure, I guess. I'll grab that. It's rude. Don't walk away from me. And glowstone? I haven't had a... I've had glowstone dust, but I haven't had glowstone. We can handle that part, though. Let's go ahead and throw those into there, do this, and then learn glowstone. Cool. Awesome. Goodbye. Sorry, my friends. So anyway, yeah, we can shove those back into there. Sure, leather can go into there, and leads can go into there. A couple things in our applied energistic system aren't going to hurt us. Anyway, so yeah, if we pop into our base over here, our machine room, you're going to see I have our thermal machine set on up over here. And I taught them the pulverizer. Really, I haven't taught anything. I honestly don't know if we're going to need the pulverizer for much. Diamond dust or ender pearl dust, I think, is the only thing that is really going to be used inside of the pulverizer, because almost every recipe is available to be done in the crusher. But anyway, I went ahead and through the multi-servo press and went through its usage and found all of the different plates and stuff that it has. So we have that. And same thing with the induction smelter. Pretty much every recipe that this thing is able to create. Neither of them are speed upgraded or anything like that, so they will be extremely slow as we go until I take care of that. And then outside of that, our setup over here is working fantastically. No issues with this. We're currently backstuffed with 16 on each of these, and these guys are sitting full with one bonus in their inventory. So yeah, I like it. It's automated. It's working. I went ahead and used XNet over there for the power as well, just so that way it's consistent across the board, and it's easy to add power. Plus, XNet has a lot of power transfer capabilities, better than our current advanced Mekanism cables. Anyway, with all of that being said, I'd like to pop upstairs to our next floor, in which we have our next wireless connector. Now, currently, we are burning through a ton of power with these wireless connectors. So my goal is to get us into Powah so we can get, more power. I do love this setup that we have going on up here. This white stained glass with these, armor pieces is pretty cool. I love this structure. Eventually, they will probably get torn down, especially since those look like wither skull heads, which I would love. How they got the armor stands to be encased in this glass is a great question. Pistons pushing it into there, most likely, and then that's what they copy and pasted for this structure. But yeah, it looks pretty darn awesome. Just saying. I like all the armor just being on display, like they're in glass cases. Anyway, so today we'd like to work on getting ourselves into Powah, which is not terribly too difficult to honestly get set up, especially with applied energistics having the ability to input-output fairly simply, and blocking mode and don't craft until a pattern's returned. We should be able to automate this fairly easily overall, to the point where I don't even necessarily need terribly too much. I honestly just need this guy to chill here, and then the energizing orb is our next thing that we're going to need. We're going to want to teach the system how to make some of these things, though, from Powah, because, a lot of this stuff is going to be reusable. So let's go ahead. Oh, and I got my refined obsidian paxel, by the way, if you didn't notice. So the energizing orb itself, we don't need to do anything because it's not part of any quests or anything like that, though it is part of the Architron. So whether we need to have one to turn in, or is it just me completing it? Probably just me completing it. Anyway, so we're going to want to go ahead and get ourselves dielectric cases. So we're going to teach the system how to make those. We're going to want dielectric rods in the horizontal format. We are also going to want dielectric rods in the vertical format. So let's go ahead and grab those, which I guess is the default technically. And then we're going to want dielectric paste. Now we have two options here. We can either use lava buckets or we can use blaze powder. I don't want to use lava buckets, but I also don't have a lot of blaze powder. We have to make blaze powder. So I mean, either way, we're kind of out of luck in either direction, because blaze powder does not have EMC. Blaze rods do. Blaze powder does not. So we are going to have to get blaze powder set up and automated, and we can do that using. Really? The cutting board can do it? Oh, with a netherite pickaxe? That's interesting. Is a crusher, or is this going to be a pulverizer? This is a pulverizer recipe. We could do a squeezer and get a 5x out of it, but pulverizer would get us 3, so we'll go ahead and just do that. Wow, we don't need an arcolution. We do need a blaze rod, and we're not going to have that as an output, and it is 3 confirmed. Yes. Okay. So we'll go ahead and grab that. We're going to put all of these things into here. And then this guy, I guess we did need the pulverizer. Look at me knocking the pulverizer for not having any use when its use is to make us some blaze powder. So now if I go ahead and say that I want all of the things from this, it should be able to do it, except for the fact that I have no clay in the system, but I will now. Bam, bam, bam. Now I have clay, so go ahead and craft that up for me. So we should have an energizing orb. Perfect. Okay, sweet. So energizing orb acquired. Now with the energizing orb, I don't exactly know. Is this going to be able to push into the energizing orb from this side? We'll find out for sure. I am going to want to get myself a modular router so we can handle the output with a polar, and I'm just going to go Mark II on this, and sender Mark II, so that way we can have the outputs handled and moved without having to have a whole bunch of blocks. And then we are going to need from Powah, we need the little standy duties, the energizing rods. Yeah, these guys. Energizing rods are going to be what allows us to actually get power into our things. And we're going to want, now the starter one, do I need starter to make basic? Yes. Okay, so I'm going to need these. We're also going to need to be able to craft basic capacitors, which is going to require tiny ones. So we're going to need this. And then I would like to bump those up to the basic tier if I could do that. I'm going to have to get some quartz blocks in here. And then the next tier is the hardened tier, which we do not quite have the capability of doing just yet, but we will, not terribly too far off in the future within the next 10 seconds. Not 10 seconds, but close enough. So let's grab energizing rods, and let's grab ourselves like 8 of these guys, I think. I need the blocks of quartz first, though. Bam. And then now can we request 8 of you? We can. Now for the quest for Powah, I do need to craft myself up the cables from Powah. So I'm going to go ahead and craft myself up 1 set of these guys. I don't want to make any more of them because I'm not using Powah cables for any of my stuff, but the quest wants me to make them. So I will make 1 simple set of these, put them in my inventory. And then I go to quests and I look at power, and I look at Powah, and I needed to pick up a starter, and it's starter cables. Why? Okie dokie. So I wasted effort there. Don't want those. I want starter cables, apparently. There we go. And I have to pick up a starter energizing rod in order for the quest to complete. So there we go. Quest complete. Perfect. Okay, so now with these energizing rods, we can grab them all. They do all have their own NBT, and they are all going to fill up with power if you keep them in your inventory. So put them up here if you don't want them to get power. I don't care at the moment, so yeah. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab myself some universal cables because these have a higher output and these are easier to upgrade, but we're going to want to get 8 of them. So we're going to go ahead and surround this 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know if I want to put another one anywhere. I guess 8. It's not going to look the greatest, but it works. Okay. And then we can go ahead and take our energizing rods and place them on top of each of these so that they have access to our energizing orb. Then all we have to do is get these guys power. So we can go ahead and grab a point. This is not a very compact setup. I don't like this one. So I guess we're only going to go with 7. I don't like it. I don't like it being there. So sorry. We're going to go ahead and put that one there. And we're going to say this is our energizing orb output. And you can go. So now those will all fill up with power. And then they will have access to the energizing orb. Great. So now all I have to do is get my modular router set up. So the modular router can go ahead and sit here. And you are going to pull from you. I think I do want to make sure that it pulls from the bottom, don't I? I do have a shrinkinator. There we go. Okay. Puller, I want you to specifically pull from the bottom of that block. Yeah, I think I want that. Love the shrink tool, by the way. It's super cheap to make. Just requires some power, and yeah, it lets you fit into blocks that you normally would not be able to fit into, or block gaps. Okay, so we're gonna have our puller, and the puller is gonna go and set up here with the modular router, and it's going to pull from the bottom of this, and then it is going to send back into our pattern provider. Easy peasy. Pull from there, send it to there. And we can speed it up later if we need to. Now, the pattern provider, we are going to want to make sure that we have it on blocking mode and lock crafting until the result is returned, because the energizing orb can be funky. The first thing that we're going to make with the energizing orb is, it's not hardened steel, it's energized steel, right? So energized steel is going to be made in the energizing orb with a gold and an iron ingot. So let's go ahead and grab a recipe for that. And when we do so, we're going to get 2 as an output. Great. Good to know. So if you put this inside of here, we can go ahead and request this and see if it works. So it should put those in there. This should pull it out, send it in, and the autocraft was complete. Good. Now what happens when I request more than one set? This is where Powah becomes an issue, because the inventory, Powah can handle more than what you're asking for. So for example, let's just grab some gold and grab some iron. If I wanted to craft my energized steel, normally it's a 1-to-1 recipe, right? But notice I can put more gold in there, and then I can go ahead and put my iron in there. And yeah, it can just get very easily clogged up. So you have to be very specific in the fact that you only want one of each to go in, because it's not a shape list, as they say, craft. It is very specific. So if I wanted energized steel now and I wanted 16, because we have this on blocking mode, it's not going to try and insert more until this inventory opens up, and it won't try and insert more until the crafting result is returned. So it should just be pretty simple, and we should end up with 16 total in a few moments once it finishes doing its thing. These guys laser blast the center of it to give it its power, and then the higher tier that these are, the more power and faster they're able to transmit. But there we go. Energized steel. Easy as that. Let's go ahead and collect our requests, because we might get some good stuff in here. I don't know. What is this? A generator from Draconic Evolution? A basic flux storage? The wrench from Powah? We can go ahead and put that in here. No, I can't. Can you clear out? Maybe I need it to be cleared. There we go. Okay, so you can go there. What is the generator from Draconic Evolution? Coal. And then you output powder, 40 OP per tick. Dark mode. Okay. Performance mode, overdrive mode, 300 OP. How does OP convert to, is it the same as RF? It's a 50% field efficiency. Okay. Well, we got a generator. It literally looks just like a generator, by the way. Flux storage is not learned. I don't know when we're going to need it, but we'll go ahead and learn it. And then we got a book, the manual for Powah, which we may reference at some point, but we don't necessarily need it right now. Okay, so my major goal in here is to tier up with Powah. I want to get ourselves up to the higher tiers, at least to the Niotic tier, because if I can get up to Niotic, it will make it so that we can get a Niotic reactor, which will get us 50,000 RF per tick, which will be more than enough for now until I can get to the Nitro tier. But in order to do that, we need Nether stars available to us. Right, if I am correct... what's the green tier? No, the green is spirited. No, I want to go up to spirited tier, don't I? Yeah, I want spirited tier, which is emeralds. Now, in order to do so, we are going to have to tier up and craft all of the requisite things. So let's take a look at all of the stuff that we are going to need for this. In order to do so, we have our energized steel, but we're going to need blazing crystals, we're going to need niotic crystals, and we're going to need spirited crystals. Not terribly too complicated, but let's see what they're going to actually cost to see. Blaze rods, yep. So this is just blaze rods into blazing crystals. I believe niotic crystals is just diamonds into it. It is power heavy, but should be doable. 1 million RF. If I just let it sit here and do its thing, it's going to do its thing. There we go. So then the only other thing I need to do is teach it how to make the reactors. Now, before I do, I want to double check. I believe the reactors require 26. Is this the reactor? 36 blocks in my hand. 36 total blocks in my hand to get this done. So I need to request 36 of whatever tier I end up going with. The only other major thing that we are going to need to make sure that we have is uraninite, which is going to be the only part that is challenging, though I believe we have uraninite in here, right? Yes, we have raw uraninite in here, so we can make that happen because that is the fuel for the reactor, is the uraninite itself. The reactor requires a few things. It requires water, at least 1 bucket of water. Literally, that's all it ever needs is 1 bucket of water. It requires, let's see if we can, does the quest? Yeah, so it's going to require some sort of coal. Or not some sort of coal. It's going to require coal. It's going to require redstone. You can add in some sort of coolant, a solid coolant, as it says, like snow or ice for extra coldness. The more tiered up, so you can get up to like the Powah's dry ice, the more efficient it will be, which means the less of everything it's going to burn. And then you need a uraninite as the fuel, ultimately. So we need to work on getting this uraninite produced. Now, the uraninite itself, we could set up an EMC link and have it pull out the raw uraninite, process it, and put it in. I think that would be okay for us to do. So I'm not majorly concerned about how are we going to get that, because I think that way is going to work the best. Okay, so if we want to get a spirited reactor, we're going to need to do this, which means we're going to need spirited capacitors. Luckily, we already know how to make basic capacitors. We just need to make the large version of them. The spirited capacitor then is going to require niotic reactors. So in order to make a niotic reactor, we're going to need to have this done. And then we need niotic capacitors. After niotic, we need blazing. So we'll go ahead and grab blazing and then blazing capacitors. And then after blazing, we need hardened. So we'll grab some hardened capacitors and a hardened reactor. And then finally, we are going to need basic. Oh, and apparently there is a starter tier 2. So that is lovely. And then starter. So if we pop all of these into our craft, and I then ask for 36 of these, it'll tell me what it is I'm missing. The only pain part about all this is I can't shift click these in. I have to one by one add these to these columns, which is, I mean, it's fine. First world problems here, I guess. So if I ask for spirited and I ask for 36 of these, what do you need? What are we missing? We're missing emeralds. So we can get emeralds. We have traders. We're missing diamonds, uraninite, and blaze rods. All those 3 should be the easiest part for us to get. I'm going to go ahead. We're actually just going to teach the system. Am I? No. Let me just grab some raw uraninite, and I'm going to grab a bunch of it, because I have plenty of EMC. I'm sitting at over 1.8 billion. So that is fine. We can go ahead and throw this into here. Sort, please. Auto split. And apparently that's all the power that we're able to handle. How about you? Let's get you working too. And we are out of power. That's terrible. Okay. Well, the Andrada was a little bit ambitious. That's okay. We'll let that run, and then we'll put the raw uraninite in there, and it's fine. But we have uraninite available to us. So now all we need to do is grab, it was more diamonds, didn't it say? So let's grab like 3 stacks of diamonds, and then blaze rods. I said 3 stacks as I pull 6 stacks. Go ahead and shove those into there, those into there, those into there. You can go into there. So then all I need is emeralds. And for emeralds, I can handle that fairly easily. If I just come over to my villager farm, and you're not the villager farm, you are the villager farm. I come in here, notice I expanded my trading setup because, you know, why not? And if I go ahead and just grab a lever and I shut one of you guys off, let me put this lever. That should turn the lever off, right? Or the hopper off. I do have to wait, which is kind of unfortunate. So maybe I should do it on a guy who is actively trading right now. Turn off the hopper. Are you able to trade? Yeah, you're able to trade. The problem is I'm so slow. Okay. Okay, that's not turning the hopper off. I was hoping that would pass through there. Give me those. Give me those. Give me those. Basically, I just got to come here and steal all these. Could I just easily grab myself another trader? Yes. And a Fletcher? Yes. Probably a good idea. Instead of being dingus here, let's just... Why am I making my life complicated? You need to trade me sticks. Cycle the trades, please. Thank you. Give me some sticks. Why did I make that more complicated than I needed to be? I don't know. And I need how many of these? 32 emeralds total. Okay. Probably should grab some more. Be right back. Okay, there we go. And I decided to take my last guy over here and remove him from the system and have him dump into the ender chest with this lovely hopper setup that I have going on here. Why I'm not using pipes, I don't know. Or even just move the ender chest up. I don't know. But anyway, so he's going to run down there, and then instead the emeralds are going to feed into that last chest there, or that last guy, and then the emeralds will just dump into there. So that way we have emeralds on craft. Because I didn't realize we didn't have emeralds, you know, available to us super easily. So now we should see emeralds coming into there. Good. Okay, and then with this guy, I was able to trade up using string and feathers, all this stuff with EMC in order to get us the emeralds we need. So if I ask Powah for 36 spirited reactors now, we should be able to craft that. It's going to take a little while because it's going to have to do all of the stuff over in the machine room. Everything's going to have to get crafted up here, so it's going to be slow because it's going to do this, and you know it's going to take a little while for everything to happen, but it will happen eventually. So what we'll do is next episode we will come back and we are going to work on setting that up. This gives us more room for industrial foregoing up top too. So then this room is like our complete setup of all of our stuff. Anyway, so yeah, snowing. So I guess we're going to have to go home. But that's going to get us completely set up with all of our stuff that we're going to need for this. So next episode, we will come back and we will get Powah set up and automated. We'll use an EMC link to help us out with some of those things because we have the capability of pulling out the different types of ice, I believe. I just need to get some of them. So we need to figure out how to get ice, but then I can ultimately get up to blue ice. With that, and then we can just pull that out, push it into the system along with redstone and coal. I think like an EMC link or something like that's going to be really efficient for that or helpful. I don't know. I'm trying to think how do we want to set that up. But ice itself, we can make, we can get into the 0 ring, I guess. That shouldn't be terribly too difficult. And then the Evertide amulet will also not be complicated. And with that, we're able to make ice. I think that's the route that we're going to go because I don't have Silk Touch available. I could get Silk Touch. I could also get a Blast Chiller, which will be handy for other things like turning honey into honey blocks, I guess. But for now, we'll see. Anyway, that's it for today's episode. If you enjoyed, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. I do appreciate it, and it really does help out the channel. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.